We all have that picture in our minds, don't we? The perfect home.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a big yard, quiet street.
Exactly. That safe place, your sanctuary. But today, well, we're diving into a story that takes that whole idea and just turns it upside down.
It really does. We're talking about the darkness that can kind of hide beneath that perfect suburban picture.
We are. We're looking at the really unsettling story of Derek and Maria Broaddus.
Right. And what happened after they bought 657 Boulevard, Westfield, New Jersey.
This wasn't some fixer-upper they were gambling on. This was supposed to be it, their forever home.
But it pretty quickly turned into something else entirely, a source of just immense fear, really, and this baffling mystery, all starting with some letters.
Yeah, deeply disturbing letters. And we're using an article, 657 Boulevard, Eyes in the Walls, as our guide here. It really, it lays out the whole ordeal in detail.
It does. So Picture this. June 2014, Westfield, New Jersey. You know, classic, leafy, East Coast suburb.
Totally. And right there is his house, 657 Boulevard, a 1905 Dutch colonial. Big, stately.
Yeah. Ivy growing up the side. The article mentions the windows looking like eyes.
Yeah, like eyes in a painting.
Yeah.
That feeling. Kind of watchful.
Even before anything weird happened, huh?
Right. So Derek, he's an insurance exec. Maria, she actually grew up in Westfield.
Oh, really? So it was a homecoming for her, in a way.
Kind of. Stay-at-home mom. And they paid, what, $1.3 million for this place?
A serious investment. This was clearly the culmination of a dream for them.
Exactly. The article really hammers home what this place meant. Raising their 3 kids there, making memories, the whole package.
The forever home. You can almost feel that excitement, that hope they must have had.
You really can. And then, just a few days after closing, it starts to unravel.
With a piece of mail.
Just a plain white envelope, no return address.
But inside. Well, inside was the message that just shattered everything. Plunged them into like this constant state of anxiety.
So as you're listening, imagine you're right there with us trying to piece this together.
Yeah, we want to really unpack what happened, the psychological toll it took.
The weird reactions from the neighbors, too.
Oh, definitely. And the big question, the one that still hangs over everything. Who was the watcher?
Or, as the article hints, maybe still is.
Creepy. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, that first letter.
Right. Derek stops by the house. They just closed a few days earlier, eager to get renovations going. You know, that quiet before the storm of moving in.
They're checking the mail. Probably junk mail, bills.
And this one envelope, plain white, addressed simply to the new owner of 657 Boulevard.
Just reading that gives me a weird feeling.
Me too. That everyday act, checking the mail, suddenly turning sinister.
And the letter inside. Definitely not your standard welcome to the neighborhood note.
Not even close. It starts with a kind of greeting, but it gets possessive fast.
Yeah, that line. 657 has been the subject of my family for decades now.
And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming.
Wow, okay. In charge of watching a house. Second coming. That's really bizarre language. Sets a strange tone immediately.
It's deeply unnerving.
Right.
And this whole idea of a lineage of watchers, mentioning a grandfather in the 20s, a father in the 60s.
Like they were just drafted into this creepy family tradition by buying the house.
Exactly. And then the questions start. Super invasive.
Like, do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls?
Why are you here? I will find out. I mean, talk about an immediate violation of privacy. They haven't even moved in.
It's designed to make them feel like intruders, right? Like they don't belong. And then it gets even worse.
Yeah, it shifts focus to the kids.
Which is just terrifying.
Absolutely. That's where it crosses the line. You have children. I've seen them. So far, I count 3.
Just the fact that someone is counting your children.
And then, once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me.
Oh, that's not vague. That sounds like a direct, awful intention.
It really does. And the sign-off. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the watching begin.
Followed by just the watcher.
It sounds almost theatrical, but it's so menacing.
So Derek's reaction, totally understandable. Locks everything up, turns off the lights, calls the cops immediately.
Primal instinct, right? Protect the family.
And the police officer comes out, takes a look, says it's strange.
But no direct threat. Not yet.
Which is almost more unsettling, isn't it? It acknowledges how weird it is, but offers zero reassurance. Like, what is a direct threat then?
Exactly. That gray area, that implied threat, that's what gets under your skin.
The article says they tried to rationalize it at first. You know, maybe it's a prank.
But that feeling, being watched, someone knowing things, it just stuck with them.
And then just a few days pass and boom, another letter arrives.
And this one, the article says, was just worse.
Yeah, because it wasn't just general creepy stuff anymore. It had specifics.
Right. Things like, I've seen the workers. I watch as you bring in boxes.
The dumpster is a nice touch. Like, who notices a dumpster? It shows they're really watching closely.
But then any doubt it was just some random thing must have vanished right then. This was active surveillance.
It's not some vague presence anymore. It's someone physically there, looking at them, noting details.
And then that question, have they found what's in the walls yet? In time, they will.
Whoa. Oh, okay, so now there's this hint of a secret, something hidden in the house.
Yeah, it adds this whole other layer of weirdness and potential danger. What is in the walls?
It's classic psychological control, isn't it? Making them feel totally exposed, vulnerable, even inside their own property lines.
And then that phrase.
I am pleased to know your names now, and the names of the young blood you have brought me.
Young blood? The article points out how much that specific phrase messed with Derek.
I bet it's so predatory, dehumanizing. Like the kids are just offerings.
Offerings to the house almost, or to this watcher person who seems weirdly connected to the house.
And the letter even questions why they bought it. Greed, status, was your old house not good enough?
Like the watcher felt personally offended they were there, like they weren't worthy of 657 Boulevard.
It suggests this really deep-seated, maybe distorted sense of ownership, like they have some ancestral claim or something.
And that line, 657 is crying. You have changed it, and it does not want change.
Whoa. Anthropomorphizing the house, making it seem like it wants the watcher there, not the Broaddusses.
Super unsettling.
It's like the house itself becomes this character in the drama, a malevolent one.
So, no surprise, renovation screeched to a halt, kids are kept far away.
The dream home is officially a nightmare.
And they start trying to fight back, right? Cameras go up, motion sensors, alarms.
Everything. Hiring PIs, ex-FBI guys to try and profile whoever is sending these things.
Moving from shock and fear to actively trying to protect themselves.
But even with all that gear, how do you shake the feeling knowing someone is out there fixated on you, on your kids?
You probably don't. And the letters kept coming, each one just another wave of fear.
The article quotes some later ones. Are you scared yet? You should be. Just taunting them.
Horrible. You can't hide from me. I see all, hear all. That feeling of constant surveillance must have been absolutely crushing. No privacy, no peace.
And again, 657 is more alive than you know. Doubling down on that creepy, maybe supernatural vibe.
It's pure psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Dismantling their sense of safety, piece by piece, before they even really lived there.
And then things got even weirder within the town itself.
Oh, yeah. The suspicion started shifting. Not onto the watcher.
But onto the Broaddusses themselves.
Which is just awful. You're the victim, and suddenly you're the suspicious one.
The article mentions the rumors flying around Westfield.
That they made it all up. Couldn't afford the house. Insurance scam. Trying to get out of the mortgage.
Imagine dealing with that on top of the letters. Feeling isolated, judged by your own community.
It shows how people crave simple explanations, even wrong ones, when faced with something scary and unknown.
And the watcher seems to almost feed on that isolation in another letter quote.
Which one was that?
You've let the house sit empty. Why? Afraid. You should be. 657 doesn't want strangers. It doesn't want change. It wants me. It remembers me. It calls to me.
Like the watchers positioning themselves as the rightful owner, the one the house wants.
Yeah.
Further isolating the family.
It's just this bizarre, intense possessiveness. So the Broaddusses are stuck. Paying a mortgage on a house they're terrified to live in.
Can't sell it easily because now it's infamous. Can't figure out who's doing this.
And their lawsuit against the previous owners for not disclosing they'd gotten a letter to apparently just threw more fuel on the fire.
Made the house seem even more tainted or cursed in the public eye.
So they never moved in, but they couldn't quite let go either. The article talks about Derek.
Doing nighttime patrols. With a bat.
Yeah, and obsessively watching security footage, even trying to bait the watcher online.
It's like he had to confront it somehow, even though it was tearing them apart.
Yeah.
That fight or flight thing, but neither really worked.
And then came what the article calls maybe the most disturbing letter of all.
Oh boy. What did this one say?
I walked by 657 today. The windows watched me. The walls whispered.
Okay, that's next level creepy. Blurring the lines between the person and the house itself.
Exactly. It knows you don't belong. You will never be safe. Like the house is judging them now.
Wow. The psychological manipulation is just intense.
And their reaction to that was almost primal. They started physically searching the house.
Tearing into walls, checking crawl spaces, looking for
What?
evidence. The Watcher themselves.
Anything tangible. But the article makes such a sharp point here.
What's that?
The Watcher never needed to be in the walls. He was already inside their minds.
Oof, yeah. That's the real horror, isn't it? The psychological invasion. You can't board that up.
Absolutely not. That constant fear, the paranoia, feeling watched all the time, it takes a massive toll.
So finally, 2019, 5 years after that first letter, they managed to sell the house.
But at a huge loss, financially, which makes sense given everything.
And they told the new owners everything, right? The whole story.
They did. Full disclosure, which was the right thing to do, obviously.
Imagine buying that house without knowing. Nightmare fuel.
But here's where it gets even stranger.
The new owners.
Moved in, lived there, and nothing.
No letters. No weird stuff.
Nope. The article says, according to them, it was just a quiet house.
Okay, that throws a wrench in things. If the Watcher was obsessed with the house, why stop?
Great question. Maybe the obsession was specifically with the Broaddusses? Maybe the Watcher moved? Or stopped for some other reason? Adds another layer of mystery?
But the story wasn't quite over for Derek and Maria.
Right. Even after the sale, months later, Derek gets one last communication.
Just a card in an envelope.
And the message. Stark, you were never meant to be there. You tried to change 657.
But you don't change it. It changes you.
And signed, one last time, the Watcher.
Like a final creepy jab. A reminder that it wasn't really over for them emotionally.
So when you try to wrap it all up, the article really emphasizes this is still unsolved. Completely.
The DNA from that one envelope, potentially female, but no match found.
The neighbor they looked at, Michael Langford, never charged. No evidence.
Basically, the investigation hit a dead end. No fingerprints, no definitive DNA, no sightings, nothing solid on camera.
Just nothing, which leaves this huge vacuum where answers should be.
And that's where all the speculation comes in, right? The theories.
Exactly. The article mentions the big ones. Did the Broaddusses make it up?
Which seems really unlikely, given the stress, the financial loss.
Agreed. Then there's the idea the house itself is cursed or has bad energy. More supernatural territory.
Or the most likely, but still frustratingly vague, theory.
That the Watcher was a real person, probably lived nearby, but their motives, who knows?
And the letters stopping for the new owners? Maybe the Watcher's fixation was just on the Broaddusses. Or maybe they just quit.
We just don't know. But that final thought the article leaves you with.
So unsettling. Maybe the Watcher wasn't a person at all. Maybe it was something else.
Watching, waiting, still there, behind the walls.
It's that ambiguity, the not knowing, that makes this story stick with you. So disturbing.
So yeah, as I kind of finish up this deep dive, it's clear this was just a bizarre, deeply troubling sequence of events.
And those core questions, who was the Watcher, why the Broaddusses, they just hang there. No neat bow at the end of this one.
Not at all.
And hopefully listening along, you've gotten a good handle on this strange case without feeling totally overwhelmed by the details.
Because it is complex, but at its heart, it's about that violation of home, of safety, something we all instinctively understand.
Which leads to maybe the final thought for you, listening out there.
Yeah, what theory about the Watcher actually resonates most with you? And why?
Was it just a really disturbed neighbor? Some kind of hoax that got way out of hand?
Or do you lean towards something stranger, something about 657 Boulevard itself?
And whatever the answer is, or isn't, you can't deny the psychological damage done to Derek and Maria Broaddus.
Absolutely. Their dream turned into years of fear, anxiety, financial loss. It's a heavy price.
It really is. And it just reminds you, sometimes the most normal-looking places, these quiet suburbs, they could hold some really profound, really dark mysteries.